Ladder League is back. You know the drill. We are starting off on Rung 4 this week. Justin Daime Coolison. And on paper, this shouldn't be a very close race. These runners are all very far apart on the leaderboards. But we don't really know, especially with Justin, about his kind of D-Rust situation. Is he going to be prepared enough to play this run? He's done a lot of runs in the week between, but, it's all different when you're out in the official race. Starting on lap 1, Godfrod, this pod race, big problem spot for him last week, but he's going to get a much better start this time, successfully landing Godfrod on lap 1. And coming up on lap 3, he has a chance to go perfect here, and he is going to take that chance. He's going to get 2 for 2 Godfrod, no major issues, a really good pod race to start this race for Justin. Now, Daime, the only other player in this race to go for Godfrey, he needs to, get a great one. If he wants to keep up with Justin, you can't fall behind early. And he's coming up on lap 1. He is going to get a height boost, but it's a little bit small. And you'll see he gets this respawn kind of close to the track because of it. So every time he dies, he gets pulled a little bit closer to the track on his respawn. That means he needs, to take more deaths to get extra speed to, get out of it and get to this mid-tro. But the problem is that's going to give him too much speed. And when he does finally get in bounds, he is just absolutely blasting forward, and he's going to miss the regular pod fraud spot. Just barely can't get there. And with that in mind, he doesn't go for the lap 2 Godfraud backup either, not something he's practiced. And he's not even going to go for lap 3 Godfraud. That part is really confusing, but I guess just driving the lap 2 normally, not something he's used to doing. Just something about his, preparation headspace. He just wasn't ready to go for that trick, apparently. And that's going to set him in a pretty bad spot. Makes you start to wonder if maybe Coolison can catch up to Daime. Maybe that can be the race. But as Coolison approaches Pod Fraud, he is going to have some issues of his own. Coolison, he's just aiming too far to the left right now. There's not much more to it. And he's going to miss the mid-lap trigger. And, when he comes back, he crosses the finish line. The lap is not over. He is backwards. He's got to drive this entire lap, and that's going to force a level reset. So, a really devastating time loss by Coolison, and he just cannot afford it this run, even though Daime had that slip-up. It's not enough. Coolison, still way behind him, and it's only going to get bigger just based on the base skill gap between them. But yeah, for Justin, things are going pretty well. At Spaceport, this was another big problem level for him last time, but you don't make that mistake again, he's going to get through just fine, and he's going to have a pretty big lead into DSE, where Daime's going to do him some favors, make that lead even bigger when he misses Gripmore skip, loses the helmet, and he's going to miss it a couple more times. He's just coming in, either too early or too late, just can't quite get that timing down. Pretty awkward when you can't, stabilize yourself or anything. I don't know. It's, a few misses for Daime, and this is going to be a lot of time, and it's going to make it very hard for him to catch up to first, and that just puts Justin out into a commanding first place, and he's never going to give that back. Justin playing so much better this week. Night and day difference between this and last run. Here he is nailing MVE, and coming into Bespin, if he can just fly across this gap, he's going to be in with a pretty big lead, a huge event PB, almost an actual PB. He would end up very close to his PB on this race. 2:20.08 final time from Justin. That's going to put him with a big win, a huge race to just set everything straight, start to claw back his average that started off really badly last week. Everything going very well for Justin, And honestly, I'll give Coolison some credit as well. He had a very bad pod race, also a bad CCT, but that stretch in the middle, let's say the feed through Dagobah, that 30-level stretch was really good for Coolison and on pace for a multiple minute PB if you were to play like that with a good beginning and end. So I don't actually feel so bad about Coolison getting last here. He was kind of expected to, but the way he did it still made him look pretty good. That leaves Daime in the middle. Honestly, the biggest underperformance of the three in my mind is just, it's just not a very good time, a 2:25, leaving him very vulnerable to a leapfrog, really hurting his average. This is almost as bad as that Justin run from last week that was supposed to be like a huge gift to all of these playoff hopefuls. Daime really not taking advantage. And yeah, tough. He gets second place this week, but not in a great fashion, I'll say. Coming up now on Rung 5, EJP Man Phantom Charizite. If anyone here can beat a 225, they're gonna leapfrog. It seems very likely. Um, as for the run itself, it gets off to a bit of an awkward start. We got to talk about Phantom. So you're seeing Theed gameplay on your screen, and it's gonna be a bad Theed. It's gonna disaster, multiple minute time loss in Theed. It starts here when Qui-Gon takes his death without a respawn. He's going to come up, respawn all the way on the ground. But that's not really the point of this. I mean, yeah, Phantom off to a bad start. It's not something he couldn't possibly recover, and I'll spoil it. Like, someone in this race got a final time that Phantom could have totally beat if he, came back after this Theed and played well the rest of the way. But that is just not what happened. Phantom, as this time loss mounts, he's just going to get really frustrated. I think he came into this run maybe not in a good headspace to begin with, and this gameplay is only going to make it worse for him. He kind of just enters this negativity spiral where he's, like, not even trying for a while, and eventually he's going to forfeit the race and the entire tournament. You're not allowed to just not finish a race because you're mad, so we had to disqualify him from the tournament. And it's just unfortunate. Phantom was a pretty good runner. He got some good PBs lately. He was someone I was looking forward to seeing how he played when he was, up against the wall in these bottom rungs. But we're not going to get to see that. It's, really just a sad turn of events for the tournament and for him. But, moving on, there is still a pretty good race for first place. Third place is settled. EJP and Charizard very close out of the early game. And that will remain the case until Charizard decides to give C-3PO a bit of a bath in this Droid Factory lava. Yeah, it's just not how you want to play it. Huge time loss, and that's going to pull EJP Man into first place. And EJP Man going to defend that lead for, most of this run. Coming into Endor now, it's only going to get bigger. EJP Man pulls off a gold split in Endor. Really good performance by him so far. A lot better than that 223 we saw him get last week. He's looking very solid. And, we approach Dagobah. Charizard's still behind, but, the end game, anything can happen, hoping to catch up, but that's not what happens. Instead, just like Daime last week, Charizard going to give EJP Man a bit of a gift on Dagobah button skip, rewarding EJP Man for finding the skip once again. The ace up his sleeve. And yeah, Charizard, just a lot of misses, just sort of completely forgetting where the button is at some point. He's going to go reload the room. He thinks maybe it's his camera. If he fixes his camera, it's going to fix it, but it really doesn't even help. Really, really bad way for things to go here on Dagobah button skip. It turns his run from, moderately bad one that was going to just slide in a bit behind EJP, but a respectable second, to now this time is going to be just a disaster. This is a really, really big time loss. And yeah, on that note, EJP Man, he can get his own trick. He is going to walk in a good Dagobah. It's going to be a gold split again for EJP, and it's going to be a first place victory on the run. EJP Man wins this race and leapfrogs Daime to go back up to rung 3. Charizard the second place, hoping to avoid that leapfrog from the bottom rung, and he can that way he can stay above elimination. Phantom, on the other hand, in terms of the race, he technically gets moved to the bottom rung, but he will not be participating in that race. He is out of the tournament in a pretty unfortunate fashion. Moving forward now, we have rung 3, Anorak, Wazip, Colton. Now, Anorak's certainly a very big favorite, but Wazip and Colton are pretty evenly matched runners. Colton has the better PB, but Wazip has all that PB potential, very much could catch up, and that race for second is going to be very interesting. Now, very high bar for whoever gets second to clear. That 2:20.08 that Justin put up is the time to beat for avoiding a leapfrog. And starting with Wazip and Theed, not going to get off to a good start as Qui-Gon falls off the theater. And, this is not the kind of thing you want to start your race. You see the ramp is falling apart, the power-ups running out, the droids are all chasing him. It's just, theater clip is one of those tricks where as soon as something is off about your setup and your muscle memory, it's just so hard to recover. Everything, there's just so much chaos here. He's gonna, kill some of these droids to like finally be able to get the clip. But very bad start, and things go from bad to worse as we approach the left side. A couple of falls off the top of the strat, and I mean, this time loss is starting to look really bad for Wazip. Gonna need someone to give him a gift to get back into this race. And that's not gonna come from Anorak. Anorak, the favorite coming into it, he's off to a very good start. Not quite reaching that 1905 insane episode 1 he got last week, but he's not far from it. Anorak definitely playing well in the early game, and Colton also is pretty close. I want to stress that. And coming into Secret Plans, Colton is going to discover a new strat live in the race. You see, Antilles gets auto dropped out, calls back in, warps over. So you get him over to the other side faster. And check this out, when he goes and pulls this lever, it's Antilles waiting for the camera pan skip, so you can get faster movement switching to R2 to use this R2 panel over here. As you see, he's going to go use it. Unfortunately, it's not an R2 panel, and actually C-3PO's not here because he didn't build the bridge. So not a new strat at all, and actually just like a very silly mistake that he did. Yeah, that one is going to finally really separate Anorak into first place. And things, Colton's still ahead of Wazit, but that's going to get challenged a little bit in Carcoon. Takes a death on Topless, and takes another one. Pretty tough start. Tough to get this edge jump off. And once he finally does, he's also not going to get the trick. So this time loss starting to spiral for Colton a little bit. And we come into Disco Skip. Maybe a chance for things to get better, but he's going to miss Pixel Disco once. So just a lot of time loss for Colton. Another miss. Rebuilding the speaker. Finally gets out. A lot of time spent, and now Wazip right behind him. He's going to get this Pixel Disco. He's barely even going to have to stop to set it up. He goes very fast through here, and he has almost clawed back the deficit to Colton. Really, he needs sort of one more split to go his way to catch up. But, the real beneficiary might just be Anorak of all this. Anorak in a commanding first place position. He continues to put together good split after good split in this run, never giving either Colton or Wazip the chance they need to catch up. But yeah, Colton's still in second place, but one mistake could set him the wrong way, and that is not going to be first gate skip. Very well done from Colton. Now, second gate skip, he is going to miss it first try. Is this the moment for Wazip? Is he going to catch up? And the CG holder delivers on the second try. Endor will not be Wazip's level to catch up. And Colton is going to keep his lead all the way up to CCT, playing very solidly in this late game. What does he have for us here? He's going for this risky left side line, going to miss it. Now setting himself more traditionally in the middle, walks off the edge. A couple of deaths, maybe some concerns for Colton, but does finally get DV3, and on that note, he still has the lead in second place, that is, behind Anorak, but if he can just land this trick, he still gets second, gets across the bridge. R2's going to go into the Falcon, and Colton is going to take second place over Wazip. Now, I think this will not be the last time we see these two runners face each other in this tournament. Two runners on the outside looking into top 8, hoping to break through, and Colton so far looking like he's in the better position with that 222.01. He doesn't avoid the leapfrog. Justin is going to get into Rung 2 off of that, but Colton still, an improvement on his final time. He does keep his average just a little bit ahead of Justin. But for Wazip, you start to get a little bit concerned with another 223. The time isn't so bad, like, compared to his PB or anything. It's not like he's underperforming like crazy. It's more just that he needed to overperform. The last spot in, let's say, like the postseason, right, top 8 or wildcard match it's going to be the wildcard average slot. But the problem is that's not one you can really fluke. You need to play really well every week if you want to get a better average than someone who has a better PB than you. And Wazip just so far isn't quite living up to that standard. I mean, Justin gave everyone below him a huge gift with that 226 in week 1. And already after week 2, Justin has a better average than Wazip. So that door is really starting to close for him to get the top 8 on average. So he's got to look at, like, final time. His PB so far is not good enough to get that. He would need to get a run pretty far ahead of his current PB in a race to get that spot. So, or maybe looking at like week 7, and he's just got to beat some runners better than him. The paths are pretty limited for Wazip at this point. And I do feel similarly about Colton, but at least with this time, the improvement, the better PB, he has a little more flexibility in what he's able to do at the high end. Still, his average a little bit ahead of Justin, so he has some pathways open. Anorak, on the other hand, does look like he's very much a favorite to make it to top 8. A 2:18:55, very close to his time from last week. Very steady, a couple of 2:18s. This is a really, really good time to get in a no reset, and this is going to put him in a position to potentially even leapfrog to rung 1. This takes us now, though, to the rung 6 race. This is the elimination race. Melivro, Olive, Quasar, and, the big narrative here is Quasar has the best PB by far, but is he going to, de-rust the game properly and really put that showing up? I mean, the answer really is coming into the race is no, he didn't do much TCS at all, but, and we're going to see the results of that in this pod race. I mean, flipping out of bounds just fine, but he's going to not like how far left he's pointed on this zero death attempt, so he's going to adjust last second to the right, but now he doesn't have enough distance to get inbounds. And now things get a little bit weird with his speed, with his direction. He's trying to adjust, but now he's going to come inbounds, and that is definitely too far to the left. And that's going to miss the trigger. And that's going to be level reset, a massive time loss for Quasar, who wasn't the favorite coming in, but not if he isn't going to not if he didn't play the game. And he really didn't this week. Now, this takes us to Droid Factory, where Mello is going for Pixel Bucket. Pretty bold one. I mean, this is a lot of, even higher level runners than this aren't going for this trick, but Mello thinks he can get it, and he's not doing it so far. Yeah, it's a lot of misses here, but Mello very persistent about going for this trick, and that really is going to punish him. He was stuck here for, honestly, quite a while trying to get this trick. And that's going to put him also with a very big setback. And we have a rare Gamer Olive early lead. I mean, the narrative of Olive in all of these races has been that she's way behind early and has to clutch up the end game. But this is sort of what the Olive believers, I've been one of them, been hoping for, is like if Olive just has a good early game, now she's going crazy. So we know she can play the late game. And this is what we're starting to see amount. Olive with a very big lead out of episode 2, and that's only going to grow in Jumlin. Melivro going for slow force, and he's going to get out of bounds, but he's going to pop right in immediately. Jumps off, tries to get the respawn, and he's going to have the same problem again. And, it's really, barely even worth it to reattempt it, at least compared to the EJP man out of bounds. But the problem is Melivro going for satellite jump. That's going to turn into a pretty big time loss. And again, that's going to mean Gamer Olive's lead only gets bigger. It gets to 2 minutes in episode 6. She's just in a really good position coming into the endgame. And Melivro needs a bit of a miracle as he plays through Endor, but he is going to get it in the form of one little Ewok deciding to walk through a hatch at the perfect moment for Mello. He's going to get Ewok movement in this camera pan. And while it doesn't look like much on the surface, the Ewoks have blessed this run for Mello. The Ewoks have decided who they want to survive in this tournament. And coming up on 12 button skip, this is a skip that Mello hasn't done too well with in the past, but with the Ewoks' blessing, he is going to absolutely nail the trick. And Gamer Olive doesn't even go for it, so suddenly Mello saving a lot of time into Olive. It's going to be like 40 seconds. That's 1/3 of that deficit clawed back in this one level. And he's going to make up some more time. Coming into Grievous, Gamer Olive does not have a good go of things. Now, I don't know how much this is a hardware issue, because Olive certainly doesn't have a good computer. It's not a direct correlation between good computer and good Grievous, but certainly when you see something like this, you start to blame it. I don't know for sure. She does eventually get a 4 cycle, so it's like maybe this is like a shot timing issue because I guess her computer is capable of giving her a good Grievous. I don't know. This trick is still very mysterious. All I can say is that this is not fast at all from Gamer Olive, and just a little bit more time save from Mello. Coming into the boulder now, still a minute behind. But this, I mean, these targets are going to show for Mello. And count him up, he is going to get all 6 of these targets pretty fast. He's going to get a good boulder, and he's going to save even more time to Gamer Olive. The Ewoks influencing the boulder in his favor. And he has a pretty close race now. Olive going for DV3, and she's going to miss it. And this could be the chance. The lead is only about 25 seconds coming into CCT, and a couple of misses could make that up. But Olive gets it third try. He's going to be ahead out of DCT. By how much? Well, maybe more than we think if Mello's going to miss DV1. Bit of a concern here, but there's still a chance to make things up. He has to get DV3 fast, and he absolutely answers the call. First try DV3 by Mello, and the gap is going to shrink just a little bit more coming into Bespin. It's still Olive's race to lose about a 20-second lead. Chewie out of bounds here on door clip, having a little bit of trouble getting around the door and falling out of bounds. And I don't understand this exactly, but Chewie is just gone. He vanished. He is forever gone. You're not getting him back. I don't know why, but Olive doesn't realize this in the moment. She has to do door clip with Lando. And you see all this time of her walking around. That's honestly not the biggest problem. I mean, this is wasting time here. The biggest problem is that without Chewie, you can't do modified GTF. And Olive only knows modified GTF. Because, why would you learn regular GTF at this point? It's just harder and only useful in this one very niche situation that surely would never come up in a tournament race, right? But yeah, I mean, the lead was only 20 seconds coming into Bespin, so not being able to go for GTF on its own is enough to swing that, on top of the fact that just dying out of bounds is slow itself. And suddenly Mello is the one with the brace in his hands. If he can just get a good bridge skip here, and he is going to land it second try, good enough for a win, good enough to survive in Ladder League, good enough for a 2:27.56, just barely missing that leapfrog of Charizite, but I'm sure he's just fine with this result. Unfortunate to see Gamer Olive go in this fashion. She was playing quite well, but I think there's still plenty in this Ladder League run from Olive to be happy about. Some really fun comebacks, really good performance, I think, all things considered. Not so much for Quasar. I don't know. I mean, I hope he didn't expect to do much better than this, given that he didn't really put the time in to de-rust the game when it mattered most. He's a very good runner, and I hope to see him give it a more clear effort in the future, but this was not going to be it for him. And yeah, good news for Mello. A good runner, deserves to still be in this ladder, and we'll see what he can do next week, again in the bottom rung against Coolison. Looking back up towards the top now, we have week 2, rung 2, Anorak's 2:18.55 looming over this one. Second place needs to beat that to get up to rung 1. First place guaranteed that promotion. And Senor is going to be the one to get off to a bad start here. He has some controller issues, apparently. And, I mean, I'm showing you a lot of time lost to him, actively setting this up. I think this did come through in a lot of smaller ways before this also. He said he was just playing on, big input delay for all of Episode 1, which really cost him in a lot of points. He is not off to a good start in Episode 1. Laser also didn't get a very good Episode 1, but he is going to start to turn that around coming up into the mid-game. Sort of what we expect. I mean, Laser starting to become sort of an Episode 4 specialist, and it's showing in this Jumland. Very good time out of him here. And while Jared did have the lead out of the early game, it's starting to shrink. He needs a good DSE. This is not a good DSE. Missing trash skip. And now he's got to play this room casually. That's going to pull him behind Laser. But how fast can he back this up? Can he keep it close? The answer is not really. He's going to lose his helmet again. He has to go back and get another one again. So a lot of time lost by Jared here, keeping him pretty close with Senor. Still, Laser's lead not massive. And Senor into Jabba's gets a really good spider spawn. This could be a chance for him to claw himself in the direction of first place. But, as he gets out of bounds, everything looks good. And then eventually he is going to take a terrible death trying to corner cut there and jumping too late. And now problems are really going to start. We have these Gamorrean guards crowding him. He can't get both of his players wrangled. And when he finally does, he just gets mobbed by these Gamorrean guards. Can't stay on the spider, can't stay alive. And eventually the spider's going to run away from him. After chasing for a second, he's just going to give up on Spiderful altogether. This is a very, very big time loss by Senor. And it's really Flaming Laser now running away with first place after, these mistakes from the other runners. Laser, since episode 1, just like last week, everything past episode 1, really good. And he's going to get a gold split on this Hoth battle thanks to that double AT-AT spawn. And another gold coming up, this Echo Base. First try boom skip, everything else falls into place. A good Echo Base from Laser, too. He's starting to get a really good episode 5 put together. And that's going to put him as the clear winner in this race. Coming into Bespin, gets bridge skip first try. And Flaming Laser, another 219, backs up his performance. And he looks really good in this tournament. Now, Jared still has a clear lead on Senor, just fighting for second place, going for box skip, as you would. Unfortunate death there, but not a big deal. He's got a lot of time to work with. But when he does finally get out, switching to R2, trying to die to reset his hearts, but that's going to mess up his camera. That's going to mean Chewie dies out of bounds, and Chewie's not going to respawn in the box. And suddenly we have a huge problem. He has to go back and get C-3PO. And this is a huge time loss. Senor suddenly in position for second. Longtime Ladder League viewers will remember Jared in Ladder League Season 1. He had a race against Senor and EJP Man. And he was ahead in that race in Bespin, just like this one. Had a very similar mishap on box clip. Ended up DNFing that race, getting last place. This was, week 5, Rung 1. Put him down, week 6, Rung 2. He didn't make it until week 7. He got the 7th seed in top 8. And honestly, that Ladder League, there were basically 7 top runners. This time there are 9. So, that Ladder League, he could waste all the time he wanted because he had those last couple spots where he would be the only top runner in the ladder. He does not have the same luxury of time this time. So, every week where Jared messes up and loses and gets demoted and doesn't get a chance to get top 8 is another week where, if he's not guaranteed to get a chance where he's the clear favorite in Rung 1. So he just needs as many chances as he can get. But he's not going to give himself one in this race. This is going to be a last place finish. And Senor is able to tap in the second place. Very unexpected, but thanks to that box clip by Jared, Senor, second place finisher with his 221. I mean, not even close in terms of avoiding the leapfrog from Anorak. And an incredibly deserved leapfrog by Anorak. Honestly, he didn't really deserve to be in Rung 3 this week. It's just sort of, he got caught with the bad matchup, but he's able to set things completely right this time, jumping ahead of Senor. But yeah, Jared down to Rung 3, the biggest narrative here probably. Though I'll also shout out Flaming Laser, very much proving that his week 1 time was legit, getting a very similar time in this race. Good performance by Laser. Has a good chance to make top 8. This is serious for Laser. And speaking of making top 8, someone's going to do it right here, right now. Week 2, Rung 1, 2 seed on the line. Starting with Archclip, because Zach missed it a couple of times. Now, Zach was the favorite coming into this race, but that's not going to start him well. But the other runners also have their own problems. Evan missing cycle skips, both of them. And for Bricko, chance to take the lead for him now. He's going to miss cycle skips. So, really just pretty bad episode 1s across the board in this race. And episode 2, not going to get off to that much better of a start, at least for Evan. He's going to miss R4 fly, and he's going to even miss it again. Honestly, just very surprising to see, coming into this race, these were pretty clearly the three best runners left in the ladder, but they are not showing it so much early. And very similar thing with Bricko also missing R4 fly twice. What is going on? One thing that's going on is that Zach is finally able to bounce back from his bad episode 1 and take the lead when he gets first try R4 fly. So that means Zach has the lead into Jabba's palace, gets out of bounds for Spiderful. Everything is great until he jumps inbounds early, trying to do that same corner cut Senor messed up. Instead of jumping too late like Senor did, Zach jumps too early and he's stuck in this little box. And it's very hard to get out of. I don't know why he's destroying the torches. That doesn't seem to do anything, but he is finally able to save it with player 2. It's something that looks like it could even be a soft lock because there's no way player 1 gets out of that on his own. But does finally warp him out, and he's going to not even go for Spiderful in the end. Now, yeah, Zach is behind not by too much coming into Endor, but it's going to be by a lot more after these slip-ups on first gate skip. Just can't get Han on that gear properly, and another big time loss from Zach. He is like a pretty clear last place. And after all of this, it is going to be Evan taking first place, holding it for quite a while. Very good Grievous by Evan to help him maintain it. But Bricko remains pretty close behind. And coming into Vader, Bricko, hoping to just keep the gap small going into episode 1 so he can fight for first. But going the wrong way after he gets this drop and warp, and he's going to fall in the lava, and he's going to take a bad time loss. And he's going to take another time loss here. He misses that button with Han, has to try to recover with Leia, doesn't land it, and he's going to take a walk of shame. So now we're looking, he's even behind Zach. Bricko is in last place heading into Falcon Flight. But Big Dwayne the Boulder is going to give him a second chance. This is going to be just an incredible boulder. Look at this. This is all 6 targets just hitting. That last one a little off screen, but it still gives it to him. A gold Falcon Flight gonna completely undo that mistake Bricko made. And now coming into CCT, Zach barely behind Bricko in terms of second place. And he's going to go for just the classic DVT skip. He's going to get it. And coming into DV3, gotta get it. Gotta get a good one here. And that first try miss, not going to help him. Not going to help him to miss his second try either. Starting to get problematic for Zach, but he does land it third try. Now, Bricko, can he do better? And here is one thing he definitely will do better. He is already going for the new DVT skip setup. There's no pause buffering. It's a faster setup, faster R2 movement. Very cool new strat come out here. Bricko implementing it very quickly, and is going to get rewarded with some good time save. And remember, Zach had a third try DV3. Bricko just needs to do that or better, and he's across. But he doesn't get the first try. And you wonder, how many times can a top runner like Bricko miss it? I mean, he's so good at the game in just about every way. And third try, he will get it. He's going to match Zach on DV3, but because of DVT, he's going to gain some time here. He's going to have second place. Now, Evan still pretty clearly in first, and he is going to get across. I mean, this is a big deal. Evan gets the 2 seed, the best seed he possibly could have had. And for second place, Bricko nails Deathless Bridge Skip. That's going to mean he secures himself second place in this race, and he stays in Rung 1. And that's, for Zach, that's a demotion to Rung 2. The best he can get now is the 4 seed after being the, outright favorite to get the number 1 seed in the ladder. Just sticking around quite a bit longer than he would hope to. 2:18:35, this definitely isn't a final time where I'm like panicking about is Zach even good at the game or anything. He ran into 2 great runners, couldn't beat them. But it definitely feels like, Zach came into the ladder feeling like he was alone in first place, but he's definitely not showing it here. Bricko, Evan, Dragon, all showing that they can beat him. And that's going to be a pretty big deal, as we look ahead to like top 8 narratives. I'm sure Zach is still going to make top 8, but if he's not, if we don't feel good about him as a first place favorite, then like the championship is completely wide open. And what we saw in this race is three runners who will definitely be in contention for it. Now, with all of that said, I do want to take another look at the wild card situation. Now, again, five more runners will qualify to top eight before we look at the wild card times. So I have, the top five times on the left. You can kind of mentally ignore those unless you think someone below them is going to make it directly in a later week. Then you can kind of mentally make that swap. But we're looking at kind of six and below is our core of the wild card race. And it's Justin and Jared are the two kind of outliers, the top runners so far positioned to be in that wild card race. Justin makes definitely the biggest leap of anyone, getting that 2:20:08, completely reframing the narrative on his ability to get fastest time, putting himself in a good position now. We certainly think that Jared, he's 3 minutes off PB. Surely he can get one better than that. Kind of similar with like Colton and Wazip. Even EJP man definitely can beat these times. But if they're all going to beat him, it's just a matter of who has the most potential, and that is still going to be Jared and Justin, the traditional top runners. It's going to be pretty hard for someone to break into that top group here, but nobody, neither of them have a sub 220 yet, so there is still room. If Colton matches his PB in a run or something, he can look at the fastest time wild card. Now, average times, this one we're going to see Justin still feeling the effects a little bit of that really bad race last week, but he's already passed, basically everyone he needs to except for Colton, and he's pretty close to Colton. Certainly, putting on a lot of pressure, breathing down his neck, but Colton, with that PB he got recently, he actually bopped Justin on the leaderboard. He has potential to, put up better times than he's been seeing and maybe, keep up with Justin going forward. A bit of an uphill battle, but it's one he, again, still has a lead in. And maybe if it's not Justin he can beat, Jared also takes a really big hit, getting a 223 this week. His average is not looking very good. So that's just one more runner that the likes of Colton, EJP, Wazip can hope to catch if they want to sneak their way into top eight. As for the other five, I should at least address them. I mean, they all look really good. There's, Senor had his not so good run with the controller issues and whatever, definitely kind of weaker than the others, but 219.11 in week one is just fine. I think he's completely okay. I think he looks, I'll say, meaningfully better than like Jared and Justin have so far. But there's a lot of time left in terms of the jockeying for position between these top runners. And oh, I forgot. So we looked at all these runs. I forgot about one more run I need to show you. So before we get into predictions, I do have one more speed run that you guys should definitely watch.
Welcome back to Jar Jar's Lock of the Week, Week 3. We are going to do a quick little co-op run. Co-op IL, if you will. A little bit of an odd choice, but I guess that is his pick for this week. Bricko Fett going to win the race handedly, in Jar Jar's eyes. So, lock it in, folks. He was a little bit upset about the way things have been going these past couple weeks with his picks not hitting. He was telling me about it. But he's confident that this one will hit. He thinks that Anorak and Flaming Laser will get bombed just like Grievous here. So feel free to lock that one in. And there you have it, folks.
And there it is. Jar Jar has spoken and shown off a pretty cool little strat there in Grievous. I mean, something maybe you want to look into in any percent. The Bounty Hunter helmet dispenser in Grievous is not very far out of the way. Could be a good consistent strat. But, Jar Jar looking to make a comeback this week, actually get his lock of the week pick right. He picks Bricko, a smart one. Bricko definitely a big favorite with the ladder times he's put up. I certainly think Bricko is the likeliest winner. But when I'm looking at my predictions, I think the way Anorak has been playing, I am willing to go for the points there. 3.4 points if I get that right. I did also think about Laser with that 5.56, another pretty appealing number, but I'll take the moderate risk with Anorak. He is putting up really good times in the tournament as well, so we could definitely see it come through. Week three has a bit of a tradition of being one where sort of I would say less traditional top runners make it. In Ladder League 1, this was Frostbite getting the 3 seed, but this was before he was like world record holder or anything. He was still kind of on his rise. And then Ladder League Season 2, Harasmi got the 3 seed. Another one where like both of them were expected to make top 8, but not that early. I think it would be, pretty interesting to see that tradition continue. I would say Anorak and Laser both definitely fit that bill of like good runners, but people we would be surprised to see at number 3. I'll say Anorak is the one who gets it done, but I think this is going to be a very exciting race. I do also want to address that by the time this video is out, this race is probably already started, but I promise I am recording this as of right now, this race starts in 2 hours. I am recording it before. Whatever happens, this is my prediction from before the race. Coming up to Rung 2 now, this is just an insane list of names to be in Rung 2. Zach Senor, Wii Super, and I've been picking Zach. I've been very confident in him so far. So far, I've not been rewarded. So I think once again, I'm just gonna say, screw it. Let's chase some points. Let's take the 8.6 points if Justin wins this race. His D-Russ, his streams have been making him look a lot better. He very obviously can beat his PB. Um, I think he could. There's a pretty good chance he does it in the ladder league race. I mean, Justin has certainly a ton to prove, probably still more than these other runners. Trying to claw back his time, trying to at least, secure the wild card, or maybe tell us that he doesn't need the wild card at all. I'm willing to bet on Justin right now. I think he's going to get a great time. Now, Rung 3. This is a very interesting one, less because of who wins, but whoever loses this race is going to be in the bottom rung. And, varying degrees of surprise if that comes to pass. Certainly, like EJP Man in the bottom rung, it does feel a bit early for him there, but it's not like a crazy thing. But like Colton, he was like looked at as like maybe a borderline playoff favorite coming into the ladder after his 219. If he's in the bottom rung, that would feel way too early. And then Jared, if somehow Jared loses this race, that is just an absolute earthquake of an event. Just like one of the best runners. He was the 3 seed coming into it, and now he's trying to fight to avoid the bottom of the ladder all the way already in rung 3. Really, a really surprising fall from him, but I do think he bounces back this time. I think the competition has gotten weak enough that Jared doesn't need to really get nervous about it. I think he can just play a very steady run and not worry too much. And I think with sort of if he can feel confident about who he's playing against, then I think his mentality is going to lead to better gameplay. And I think Jared is enough of a favorite. I'm willing to go for him here. And yeah, take the 1.7 points. After a couple of risky picks, I'll take it safe here. Now, rung 4, Daime, Wazip, Charzite. Another one where, like, if Wazip or Daime end up in the bottom rung, that would be really surprising. Charzite, though, it's kind of, with some of the times he's gotten them, it's like, he feels pretty lucky to not be there now. Certainly, if a certain other runner had finished his run, he probably would be bottom rung. But Charizite been able to survive so far. Wazip and Daime, a little bit of underperformances from them, but I'm going to go with Wazip. He got the recent PB, bopping back EJP Man after like 5 minutes of being behind him on the boards. Um, Still a lot more room for him to improve that PB. I think he's just a clearly better runner than the other two. I'll go with Wazip in this one. And this takes us to a very rare two-way ladder race between Coolison and Mello. These two faced off in the LCQ. They faced off in week 1. Coolison has gotten the better of Mello both times. I'm going to pick him to do it again. Massive PB potential also exhibited by Coolison. We saw it in the race. We've seen it in other attempts he's gotten. I think Coolison, could have like a 223 by the time this race starts. And in that case, it's just not even close. Even if he doesn't PB, has about a 40-second lead on Mellowbro. He's shown so far in this ladder that he can play well in the race environment. I'm willing to take Coolison right now in Rung 5. And of course, we have one more segment to go over. It is the Frog of the Week, and we are already running pretty slim on choices here. Rung 3, 4, and 5 are the only rungs left where someone can leapfrog out of them. And looking at Rung 3, I do think Jared's a clear favorite. He's definitely capable of the leapfrog, but I'm just not quite confident enough in him as a runner to say he's going to beat 2 out of 3 of Zach, Cena, or Justin. Very stiff competition he is facing there. In Rung 5, I did say Coolison has a lot of PB potential, and if he gets that PB, if he has like a 223 coming into the race, then this leapfrog is very on the table, but I just don't feel good enough to like count on him to definitely get that. I'm not confident enough to make him my pick there. And that leaves only one more choice. Rung 4, I'm going to pick Wazip as the Frog of the Week. This does mean he not only has to win, but he has to get a better time than EJP Man and probably Colton. This is sort of revenge for last week, very similar to the way I predicted EJP Man to leapfrog Daime. That one did come through. I'm hoping Wazip can do much the same, have a good bounce back this week. Got a PB recently, and yeah, I think Wazip is the most likely runner to leapfrog. Wazip is the frog of the week. That's the recap. Enjoy the races, everyone.